obviously my name is Alfred Torgiani, which is, anyone can spell it, they should be able to spell it in this room. And it's a joy to gather here in Hyde Park Library, a place that reflects the heart and soul of our town. In a world that moves faster every day, this library remains quiet, powerful reminder of what truly matters: knowledge, connection, and community. Here children discover wonders, adults inspiration, neighbors meet friends and family members. The building is not filled just with books, it's filled with opportunity. Let's take a moment to thank our dedicated staff, like and Lindy, who I worked, I miss very much, because she was always there when I had a lot of questions.
Just across the street.
Okay. They will make a home for ideas. Thank you for supporting the gem in Hyde Park. The future's brighter because of it. Okay. And I'd like to say one thing. My daughter gave me, it's on a plaque, and this is what a supervisor is supposed to be. Guardian of progress. The hall where the work goes round, supervisor's guide. To hold the task aground, with eyes that see both wide and near. They steer the way with their voice clear. Firm yet kind, with wisdom's might, they ensure every task is right. Nurturing growth, steady hand, they help ideas and dreams expand. This is great. From dawn till dusk, their watch does hold, an anchor strong amidst the bold. Each challenge met, they stand so true, ensuring progress we all will do. That is pretty much what a town supervisor should do. Thank you. No, I'll give you an example of today, which everybody knows what the days are like. This morning, I had my business issues that I had to deal with. I was at the town hall for a couple hours. Then I met with, at Hackett Hill, which I jumped all over that thing when I first read about it and knew about it, and I'm going, why don't we do something about this, remember? And look what it's gonna become. It's moving in the direction that everybody wants it to go. Then I have to be here. Oh no, then I had to be at, with Suserino over at the Farm Lane housing, the senior housing, which we all know what the problems were. We went there Sunday. They say it was a surprise, but it wasn't. The law states that when an elevator goes down, they have to have staff on each floor, fire watch. Now, they were arguing with me that fire watch is, yes, the fire department does it. No, they don't. This kind of fire, well, the elevator shut down. I'm very familiar with how the elevators operate, you know, and I was speaking to them, and I said, the thing is, you have to have a person on each floor in case of a fire to aid the people 70 feet down. Get them to the stairwells, the injured ones that can't move. They should be up on the second and third floor to begin with, and that's the next process we're gonna get them with. So we shut it down, we violated them. They got quick responses, you know. I was just there with Sue today and the building inspector. Schindler was there, they repaired it. It was motherboards, and by the time it came to me, it's like with, you know, with Lynn, I wouldn't have to do much of this. Because our counselors normally, that's their first, they hit their ward counselor, all right, counselor, we have both. And then if they run into a jam, when they can't get something done, it comes to me, and then I step forward and handle those problems, which happen to be a lot sometimes. Now, keeping track of the financial part of it, it's relatively simple for me because it's like I run it like a business. The first year in, I didn't spend a dime. I was too afraid to. I didn't know what was going on. And so we looked at it, we didn't spend any money, we moved forward with projects. We redesigned the town hall, built it, I think almost 3/4 of the size of the original one, added the elevators, put people down in that dungeon, get them out of there. Now the dungeon, each department has their own room down there. So this all went on while I was working here. I was trying to get this one, because I worked with Butler Roller Maze on Saugerties Library, and they, we like to work with them, they're a great outfit. I lost the project by $1,500, so I was really upset about that. It's not that we're, I don't know how they're gonna make money, maybe by that, like that. But we handle that, the ward people, I bring them in, like Lynn, I'm not a politician to begin with. I look for people that do their job. That's the only thing I ask out of anybody. I don't go, well, you're a Democrat, so I'm not gonna help you, or you're this, or you're that. No, you come, like with Mark Prine, he'll tell you, I brought him into my office, sat him down, I said, you ran a nice clean race, and I really appreciate that. You didn't get dirty. I said, but all that politics is out the door. When we're in here, we're here to do a job. I explain how I work with you. You're gonna get some items that you're gonna learn fast about. Because when you start coming up with problems in your ward, because he's a teacher for special ed, so he's gotta bounce a little quicker when it comes to that. So we take some pride in helping him, but he's picked up. Same thing with Lynn when she first came on. I never asked her, what do you? But I took her around, brought her to Battlefield when they were just forming the concrete footings, had her little hard hat on and vest and safety glasses. And I walked her around, explained the entire construction process, what's gonna happen by and by. And then she had a little more of a grasp than most to be able to handle her ward. Only a few times, I think you had to come to me for something. I think when we were gonna give you the money here for the library, that's about the only thing you ever asked for. That was big, and then we were willing to do it. I mean,
Yeah.
you must have found money somewhere, because we had it sitting there going, okay, we'll do it, we'll wait for it. And, those are definite things that we handle when it comes to that. We dealt with all the parks that were run down, they were definitely run down. We finished the Hackett Hill playground, but we went a little further than that. John Lombardi and myself both have a construction company. He has, site work company, I have a general construction company, all in the commercial sector. So we helped and always added stuff to it more than I get paid over there, I'll tell you that. And then, so we put effort and time in our own personal time. Like Sunday, we were over there at Conifers. Got a call, I said, I wasn't even aware of this. I didn't know it went down again, because the first time it went down, I think you were there. And we hammered him that time. Today I got told I was a MF idiot from one of the high ups of Conifers. I said, do you realize who you're talking to? But we'll deal with you later, because the fines are coming. I don't care what you say, you're still paying them. We're dealing with the special prosecutor on that. Every day we walk around, check every office. That's how we came up with the ideas of how to get the proper flow out of the town itself. And these are items that aren't even listed in the supervisor handbook that I still don't know where it exists. But it is considered a part-time job, and Richard will say, will know, and Lynn knows, it's not a part-time job. It should be a full-time job, and it should have full-time, not for me, because I have a business and that takes time. The first year, actually, when I put a lot of time into it to learn everything that goes on, my revenues dropped $9 million. She still gets a kick out of that. But that's not something we wanted to have happen on my end, but I had to put my time in. I'm that person that if I have to do something, I do it as far and take it as hard as I can. I don't procrastinate about stuff. And people call, most of them are shocked when I call them back. Oh, you called me back. I said, isn't that something I'm supposed to do? To find out what your issues are or what you want me to do? Oh, no, I don't really need anything, I just wanted to meet you. I said, well, you can come to the town hall and I'll sit with you. You can? I said, I'm allowed, but I have to have somebody with you. But each and every day, it's a moving target. It's harder than the business end of my business, because it's got so many people and a budget that's very, very tight. You can see a lot of people complaining about us increasing prices. You have to increase revenue to have what's called an unassigned fund balance, which is how you can do small projects and fix things or get grants of a sizable size. because you have to have 20% matches, which I think you have the same thing, right? So when we're doing these projects, you have to have the 20% sitting in your unassigned fund balance. When I took office, the fund balance was not exactly what we thought it was. So we maneuvered and found out what the true fund balance is, because the next year you pay off bills from the previous year. So the fund balance changes. But in, was it 4 years? This is 3.5, almost 4. We've quadrupled what was in there. Our debt service is down by $786,000. And then our revenues, we haven't, 1 year was a negative increase for the town. How did we do that? Just creative financing. There's other things that were increased. Building department increases. Now that we had a functioning flow to everything, just small increases, not large increases. Some people, they think they were large, but they're not. But every little dollar counts. Another year, I think it was 0. And then 1 year I said, show me what it would be for 1.2% increase. What would that give the town? So he showed me what it was. We did a 1.2 1 year. And by the debt service, we had the funds to pay off debt service. I mean, to pay off all the debt that was there. We doubled some of the payments. We did some other stuff. You know, when you run into extra funds that you get. Like Belfield, everybody was against the 20-year pilot. Look what Belfield did. $3 million to the school district. Okay? The first $25,000 for the grant, and the town picked up, I think, $480,000, and that's with the hotel alone. That project, when it completes, like I told you, this town will have, when the pilot's done, forget it, when the pilot just moves forward, we'll be increasing our revenues tremendously, which will change that unassigned fund balance. So you won't look to borrow as much money anymore. You could take out a bond for $2.5 million, it'd be like nothing. Because it lowering your debt, increasing your revenue, it's kind of simple. But you have to be on top of it. Jim Kaufman is our comptroller. Now he's very, very versed, excellent comptroller. He's also a attorney. He also speaks Mandarin and all these other languages. And he used to be for 8 years the county's comptroller. So he knew very much what he was doing. So I was friends with him and the Pages. So everybody said, well, why don't you see if you can get Jim, because I said, we have full control. We're taking over at 0. We have nobody in place. So they said, why don't you call Jim? I said, he's not gonna come here well, we can't afford to pay him. So I called him up. I said, Jim, what do you think about coming with me over to Hyde Park? He goes, I heard you are now the supervisor. I said, yeah, I need a comptroller. I'll do it. I said, well, how much do you need? Whatever they pay the other comptrollers or whatever it is, I'll do it for you. I need the medical. But, since I know him, I could walk in and sit down with him, start questioning this, questioning that. We're doing all our budgets now. Right now, all the departments have to go, this is what I want. I call it a wish list. And then this is what they end up doing, because we balance it out, the reality. I negotiated with the PBA, because I'm in charge of that. I'm also what they call the police commissioner. So we negotiated with the PBA. That was a hard battle. With their, they came in asking for 30% increases.
What's the PDA?
Oh, Police Benevolent Association. So it's like the union for the police.
Yeah, no, I know, yeah.
And being that I was on the CCA, which is Construction Contractors Association, I was on their negotiating board for 15 years. I'm still on it. So I know how a lot of these unions operate. I wasn't familiar with the PBA, so I called my brother, who was investigator for the state internal up there. Was at the AG's office. So he gave me a lot of ideas about with them. But I took what I do best is, in other words, when they're asking for stuff like that, I put my head down. And then I get up and I walk out. And then our attorney is going, what are you doing? I says, what do you mean? I'm not listening to that. Because you have to. I said, no, I don't. Tell them I won't even entertain it. It's ridiculous. Right? So we go back. They set another date. And then they have a little bit of an attitude. Okay, I'm not doing that. We gave them a proposal. What we had budgeted for more, but we told them, this is what we're gonna offer, and that's it. And then the PBA president and the PBA attorney goes, we'll go to mediation, okay? Fine, go to mediation. I don't care. They sat there at mediation, oh no, we took them to arbitration, so we went in front of a judge. The judge turned around and said, looked at what we had at the time, dollar-wise, for this size town, and said to them, you should have took what the town offered you, because now you're gonna get less. That's how we settled then. Then the highway department came in and asked for, I don't know how many, 40%, it was crazy. And we take good care of the highway and the police. I built the police department up to where we're what, number 5 in the state of New York, safest city in the state of New York, number 5. They used to be what, 29th or something like that.
Oh, wow.
So, but without a full police force, you're not gonna get there. And the way things are today, we need a full staff police force. And we don't wanna lose any of our guys. We have the lieutenant, Ursilo's retiring, which threw a little monkey wrench in what we were planning, but now the chief has got his masters, we're extending his contract so nobody steals him, because he's the head of it, he's the brains, and he's been here his whole life, right, and he does a great job too. So we bought them we got body cams, they never had. That's what, when we had that incident where the woman ended up being shot, the state trooper had the body cam. They had a nest. So with the nest and the body cam, we had audio and visual. So that's what helped, because nobody knew what was going on. After that, we hooked up with the MHA, Mental Health Association. We now have a mental health officer in the police department that, let's say there's something like that going on, except not with the night. But let's say there's somebody that's on the edge and they clear it, then the mental health agent goes in and talks them off the ledge, brings it down. So there's never gonna, our goal is never gonna be an incident like that with mental health again, because those are the dangerous calls that you don't know what's gonna happen. You know, so after that, now we did the highway. I did the same thing in the highway, got up, walked out, waited. Then they got nervous because I wouldn't respond at all. They said, we're gonna end up like the police, we're gonna end up like the police. Take what they give us, take what they give us. Oh, that's what happened. They took what we offered. Smart. Now, all the people that work there, the town employees, their unions coming in. Matter of fact, I think I got the 18th is the second time we're gonna see them. I think they ask for the world and they end up with what they're gonna end up with. Because I know what we can afford, but you know, we matched every town of same size and same amount of employees, and we look at exactly what they're getting paid. So why do they want more? We're right, you know, we're on the low end in some parts, but then we'll increase it to where we're getting in the middle of the road, which is fair. They do, you know, they do need that. They tried to create more steps so that they could put people to higher levels quicker. We're not gonna accept that. That's not gonna get accepted. So, you know, I'd love to get 28% increases or make 28% on anything. I'm lucky if I see 4%, but normally it's 4%, even with my assistant, you know. And then anything else I do is, it's like insanity almost. I'm constantly on a phone. I was on 2 phones all the time. I couldn't take 2 phones because I was gonna break one or lose it. I had to put a tag on my. This is supposed to remind me about everything I do, because there's multiple things that I'm involved in. I was on the IDA board for what, 15 years on that. I resigned because the tinnitus it was just too much. I'm gonna miss something and it's gonna hurt. So I had to resign from county IDA. They didn't like that much, because then Sarah ends up leaving also. And the governor has a project or a thing out for if we're, housing friendly. And we are, you know, not just commercial, which we want to see the sewer still go, that hasn't stopped. That's still in the process, just takes forever to get the district design. Then we got another monkey wrench, cause the water department gave us inaccurate numbers to base our first go around on. So now we got more accurate numbers. Then we had to now we need more gallons. So now we're working with Bellafield for the tie-in, because that's what you pay on. We need 114 gallons per day. We started out at 40 is what they gave us. I said, that's impossible. But that's what they said. Nope, that's what the order is. Then we ended up going, we gotta do this again, that's wrong. It's too low. So I asked for 40, instead of asking for 40, I asked for 60. So we were at a decent number. Now it went from 60 to actually 114. So it increased it, but if down on Farm Lane, if all the people down there, because they're considered a depressed area, if they all voted in, we can get a loan to offset the increases for 0% interest. That saves $4.5 or $4.8 million to the sewer system, which we brought it down currently down to like under 13. It's like 12 million. So the tie-in cost is 6.5 million now. So, but you can't use grant money to pay for that. So there's going to be a few favors that we're going to get from Bellafield to time that out. But since we get 2 more years of not having to dump debt service, because we're going to pick up what, $1.5 million and almost $1.6 million in 2 years, just in revenue and savings from the debt service. So that is, in my mind, says revenue. Release debt, increase revenue. So the sewer's not stopped, they're still finishing the district, compiling the final numbers. We were supposed to have town hall meetings starting in October. It would have been great, but it looks like it's getting pushed back and forth. I'm just waiting for it finalized. Now that we have everything we need to know. The CIA was gonna wanted to tie in, but they ended up tying into maxing out actually what the culinary has. They tie in. Plus, it's going downhill. It's a lot less costly than having to pump to get up to us. But then it would have been more of a strain. We'd have had more. So just at the top, they wanted to tie in. That was only 7,000 gallons a day. So we're maxed out. We're not maxed out. We have room because that sewer goes in. The buildings that cannot do anything, like this, the old CVS in Lois, there's 1 bathroom. They can't do anything with that building. They wanted to put a indoor cannabis growing facility in there. Well, that got shut down because we put it in the smallest areas. One more is applying for a cannabis shop. Then I'm putting a moratorium in. There's only 4 locations that can have it on 4 ends of the town, and that was it. Then we're shutting it down. We're not gonna allow any more. You know, and then the other thing is, what else did I do? I can't. Everything's like crazy. It's a lot of pressure. I'm more nervous here than I do when I go in there. At least in there, I know all the resolutions that you see. Those are all negotiated contracts or things that people need. We go and resolve it, and then we create resolutions are created, reviewed by the attorney. They're posted. Then we have the board meeting, and as everybody knows, I don't waste any time doing the board meetings. I'm out of there, you know, because what am I gonna do? I'm gonna chit chat about and explain it. That's what you can call us, we'll explain everything. Everything's posted far enough and the whole thing is on the website so you can see it all. If you don't understand it, you can call. I mean, we have meetings beforehand. But if anybody comes up, we have a habit of answering them, you know, and then sometimes it gets a little over the 3-minute allowance, and then my attorney goes, don't do it. Give them another couple of minutes, right? Let them get it out. You know, and then we answer it right there on the spot. Sometimes I get into a little trouble with that, but that's what we do. And your board people, they do a great job. John Lombardi, who used to be my deputy, I didn't want to see him go. He was going to run for legislator, and he found out that because he has a contract with the county to do all the water service, that he wasn't able to do that, but he already had given up his seat to Greg. So what I did is I made him, it's really the legislative aid position, but it's called chief of staff, because John he takes care of a lot of little things that one person can't take care of. So he goes around and also checks on everything. We have people coming, going, it's hard to find, it's like anything else. It's hard to find people to work, not find people. You know what I mean? We're all having the same problems. Everybody wants to work from home. I'm good. Anybody have any questions?
I do, yeah. Can you talk about Hackett Hill? I'm kind of excited. I've been swimming there for 30 years, and I understand you're gonna,
Hackett Hill
you're gonna
is,
fix up the pool?
oh yeah, now
Yeah.
we're doing more than the pool. We have another grant that we're looking for to redo the whole, where kids were going in the shower rooms and all.
Okay,
That's getting redone, the outside, inside. The pool's gonna be, the Department of Health was gonna shut down the pool eventually, because it's not getting the flow and return that it should get. And it's costing a fortune to run these old antiquated.
and they haven't changed it much in 30 years.
Haven't done anything, no. And I'm surprised, because when you walk the deck, I used to walk and go, somebody's gonna get killed. Or if somebody falls, they're gonna get cut up,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I don't know how that has never happened.
Yeah.
Just like I don't know how nobody ever fell down those stairs.
Yeah.
That now no one will ever use to go down them stairs again. So I went, phew, at least that's gone permanently. We have a little elevator that they go down and get their boxes of stuff, and it's still being organized, put it that way. To put it all into, we're trying to get into the 20th century, 21st century, maybe even further. We did get a grant. Donna wanted a laserfiche, remember? When she passed away, I got the grant.
Okay.
I felt horrible about that, but
Can they make the pool bigger, or is it gonna be the same size?
no, it's gonna be the same size. What we have to do is tear off the deck.
Mhm.
We're gonna take the pool house, rip the roof off it, rebuild that. All new equipment goes in there,
Okay,
okay? All new. And then I think the pipes under the, running around under the deck, I think they're 4 inch, to be honest with you. That's squeezing, and they've been there so long, and the concrete's moved. We don't know if they're moving under there too. So we went with tear out the deck, tear out the gutters and all that stuff around, what is that called? The return areas, and then down into the drain. We're gonna go a few feet down there, retile those areas, the new markers, all new concrete on top. The kind that, is better for people's feet.
yeah,
You
it's
know?
rough on your feet, yeah.
And then new fencing
Yeah.
again. And then the next step, once we get the other grant, and then the rec department was actually putting up their own money to match, because I said it's gonna cost $1 million.
Yeah.
And Pete said, no, it's gonna cost 500,000. I said, okay, let's see what the engineers say. Oh, guaranteed $976,000. I was a little off, not much. Because we did a real estimate on it, not just letting them tell us what it's gonna cost and go, oh, it does cost that. And we have a contingency in there, obviously, for anything we don't see. So the final design, we had to wait for the Department of Health. I wanted to start it now, and then do portion of it now, and then finish it in the spring with the equipment, which hammering out that concrete, tearing it apart, taking down buildings, I know how long that'll take. We'll get that done and start to prep all the areas. But we didn't get DOH, so we pushed back a little bit. Now we got, if they have any questions, we have to wait for the Department of Health that was gonna shut us down to see the design, to make sure they could finish the design if they had any ads. So I said, we're not gonna take the risk this year. We have the money, everything's, once it's finished, we're gonna wait till the end of next season. Then we're gonna start to take it out. We'll be done before October, should be done by then. Because the knowledge of construction does help a lot. Because when I first took over, I said, how did you guys used to do your budgets? Because a lot of them we were seeing might have went over and under, and like it was like, here, do the job. That's basically what it was, And then the attorney says, well, we really don't know exactly what it's gonna cost until we put it out to bid. I said, that's not a good idea, because you got a grant already, but you didn't create an estimate to get the right amount of money for the grant.
Mhm.
And that could be hurtful to your unassigned fund balance, because now you're taking that money and then spending it without knowing what that actual cost is. With the sidewalks that we finished, the ones we did, By the time they would have started, they were gonna start that year, they didn't have the trees, they didn't have the benches, they didn't have the lights, they didn't have all this other stuff. They were gonna run the concrete, you know, do the sidewalk portion of it. And then I said, no, because then you're gonna do the concrete in November. What happens in November?
Yeah.
It's cold. Then what happens in December? Salt, right on, not even cured concrete, is not something we're gonna allow to happen. So I asked the contractor, was it Court? I don't know which one it was, it's 911. I'm a union contractor. So I asked him, I said, how about we take this and start it in the spring? This way you go from point A, you have everything. You don't have, because you gotta come back next year to do all of that work. So we did it that way, they did it. We saved $106,000 in the process because they went fast and it's spent on how much they do. We eliminated the stamped concrete in front of the Greek's little plaza there, so they could be outside. But if everybody knows, stamped concrete does not last that long. And plus to pull chairs on it, metal chairs, it's not something that we should do. So we picked up some credits on that and we made them redo a few spots that I felt horrible doing it, but they were trying to put the curbs in, and my office is right there, so we looked at it, and they were using a machine on an angle to try to do this 1 foot to get the stone out of the way, which you can do by shovel, just as quick. But they were scarring all the Newport curbs. I said, oh, this is not good. Well, no, you won't see it. Yeah, you will. I know it's got to be up 6 inches, but it's all, we're patching. We didn't buy patched concrete curbs. We bought brand new concrete curbs. So they had to rip them out and do it again. And then we made them rip out some sidewalks because the pitches weren't exactly where they were. Then, I feel bad, 87 feet of sidewalks they put in and 2 little kids walked right through it. We got them on camera, they knew who the kids were, they were little 10, 11-year-olds going right down the concrete like this. And I felt horrible, but they had to replace it. You know, they probably used their insurance on that one, so. And then anybody that calls, I answer their calls. Anybody that wants to talk to me, I go out and I see them. I schedule it to get out there, because otherwise I'll be running around like past a month, we've been going around everywhere. I like doing the campaign part, because I get to meet people that, you know, that know me but never actually meet you. And there's 21,000 people here. There's a lot of people, you know? So to go out and try to meet them, I'll go to, you know, sometimes I get thrown off the porch where I end up going, but I don't, listen, I still gotta take care, even if you don't vote for me, I don't care. If you don't like me, I don't care. But if something happens, I have to take care of you. You know, I would never do something like, oh, I'm not going there because they're not with us. No, I don't care. That's not the way it is. I'm right down the middle of the road. Antonio Delgado, I'm good friends with him. I like the guy, and I love his wife. She's great. She's a writer. I mean, you know, I've even been reading more. That's helping my tinnitus, actually.
Oh, good.
I don't know why, but it is. It's kind of odd. But I'm reading stuff that I know about, or I'm trying to get into the AI thing, so I'm like, well, excited about it, and I by myself with the little thing that moves your feet. And I'm reading and going, wait a minute, it's not bothering me as much as it used to.
That's great.
And I'm going, wow, that's why books are more, they're like therapy for me now. So I'm going, I gotta read this. I don't know what else. They always refer you to something to read.
We're gonna use you for an advertisement.
It is. It is.
Yeah, I have a question about how many people and how the area has grown in the past 5 or 10 years. It seems like that
People are moving up. Yeah.
Yeah.
People are moving out.
And,
It's almost balanced out. It may be maybe
oh, okay.
500,000 people different. But we're getting some that you see some of the motels are working on that. We're gonna do, they're all trying to get tax credits, the ones that own these places that we don't like, you know, that always has, our police are always constantly there. they're told that the one hotel, the Quality, go to the Sunoco and make your calls if there's an overdose from the Sunoco, so they don't get tagged with the calls going to them, okay? But we've seen Narcan all over the place, we know where it's happening. So we had called, the county and said, who's sending them here? Some of them are coming up from Westchester. They're paying for them to be up here. I don't know why, but there's been a lot of that going on. So what they're doing, trying to get a reduction grievance in their taxes. So we said, okay, what's your rent roll? Because we know what the county's paying them. And we know they're pretty full. Even though they don't look like it, they're full. So they're not gonna get tax reductions, they won't. Because we can prove why they're not, that's the other thing. And even the CIA project, they tried to do this transient thing, remember? So they didn't have to pay taxes, so that didn't work. So all the buildings, the ground infrastructure work has an IDA, but the buildings don't. So also, the buildings are not, they're not part of the IDA, they're not part of the culinary, they're $4 million homes, second homes for people that wanna rent them out, go into their system. They're taxed. There's gonna be revenue coming in there. In 20 years from now, the tax from those two will triple all the tax that comes into this town,
Oh, wow.
right? So that's why you need housing, now you need more rentals, because these young people going out, I know, I see my daughter, she's in nursing school, my stepson works for me, they can't afford $20-something hundred a month, you know, cause she's, you know, daddy's helping a little. Well, that's actually where half my paycheck goes, pays her rent, and half goes to my wife to allow me to keep doing it. She goes, I don't know why, you're good at it, but really, it's gonna kill you. I said, look, I can work out now, I'm doing good. You know, all the walk-ins helping, you know, I was 247, I'm down to 208. I gotta get down to 195. That's what my doctor said. But, and my dog, stressed, she got leukemia, it's killing me, $20,000. I have insurance, I was smart enough to do that. But she's doing good.
Richard's our timekeeper over there. So, thank you very much. So I will sum up saying you have, how many departments you oversee?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Okay, 11 departments, finances for the whole town, negotiations for all the unions, and then phone calls galore.
And problems to learn.
And problems, and you never quite know what's gonna be.
No,
I know that.
and the highway is, sometimes we send the highway as a courtesy to fix problems. Well, the tree's on my property, but you're blocking the view. They won't do it. So we'll go out and cut them down.
And then you have a tree commission that you cut down.
I think she, Barbara resigned. You'll see that in tonight's, because nobody cut the trees down in front of, Reno's building there. Trim them. We were gonna do that. We just needed the highway to get done, because the mower, and we were gonna trim it and cut the trees down. Because we know what they're doing to the ground. They lift them right out.
Mm.
So you have to, and we applied for a grant to do that whole section coming around, all the way to tie into the new sidewalks here.
We need new sidewalks too.
Yeah, but, you know, we would have done that, but the problem was they're handicapped, and when you turn, you go down this way, and you make the right, it was flat. This was a slight slope, but then it goes down like this.
Yeah.
And that means it doesn't meet handicap, so I'm gonna get stuck with how do I fix it? So, and then I can't do half of it, cause then, you know, I could go through, and then, but they were gonna cross over, and they should've stayed on one side.
Well, think about it.
No. It's not out of, no, I'm also, this is another thing I got involved in through the town, is Dutchess County Transit Commission, okay? Well, why I got a transit committee, I don't know how I got on that one, but I did. And I got interested with it because it's all about safe roads, how to do, and I think they've got a 25-year plan to zero deaths accident-wise and all this stuff. So I was with the commissioner up at Pinewoods a couple days ago, and I have the maps, and you know that Pinewoods, how you come down and have to pull over and then turn, and somebody one time went right through, there's been 25 accidents there. Because there's a corner coming up, and you're coming down, and you got this turn, and this guy's doing a California roll, and bang, it's right there. So they're gonna square that off. The plan is to design it, because that the county has to do, which is great, because I love when they have to do it. And then we're looking at that road's a mess. And then the counties come down to the end, they're doing, the other roads that everybody, Honeywell complained about that. They're looking at that, and, we're getting their cost for some, reflective signs. I wanted to do the solars, but everybody said they don't work as well, but so get the high reflection, those are much more expensive. They said we could buy the county, just not state bid, but the county gets them, they buy so many. So we're getting them from them piggyback. We furnished all the offices in here through, most of it was from the county.